Hey everyone, this is Jonathan from Guitar Player Academy, and today we're going over Wait in the Truck by Hardy featuring Lainey Wilson. If you find this tutorial at all helpful, please like and subscribe, and if you don't ever want to miss a Guitar Player Academy video, hit that notification bell. So before we go over the different sections of the song, let's talk about the tuning. The tuning itself is actually not in standard tuning at all. It has a drop C sharp and everything else goes down a half step. So let's walk it down. We have a C sharp in that low E string. Your A string is actually going to turn into G sharp. D is going to turn into C sharp. G will turn into F sharp. B will actually turn into A sharp. And E will turn into D sharp. Again, I know it's a little different, but the low E and the high E are not the same note. It's a C sharp and a D sharp, so just don't make that mistake. Before we get into the actual fingerings on our fretboard, let's talk about our right hand. This pattern, I'm just playing open strings for now, is the same throughout the entire tune. Throughout the entire tune, especially that signature intro that you hear, it's the same. Except occasionally we'll switch from the low E to the A. And again, I know we're in a different tuning, but just for sake of communication, when I talk about strings and chord shapes, I'm going to be talking as if we're in standard tuning. So all we're doing is hitting that E string, that D string, and then G and B together. That's going to happen twice. Then we're going to hit that A string, but we're still going to continue that D, G, and B line. That's also going to happen twice. Again, the notes will change. However, I just want you guys to know that the right hand, that pattern stays consistent. So let's talk about that first chord. What you're going to want to do is take your standard D shape that you learned, which just has your index finger on that G string, 2nd fret, and then you're going to want to take your ring finger and put that on the 3rd fret B string. You don't want to, if you know the D shape, you don't want to put your middle finger down on that E string 2nd fret. You do not want to do that. It's more of a darker song, darker tone, and major 3rd doesn't exactly scream dark. It screams actually rather happy, so we don't want that. And we don't even want to touch the upper E string. We just, almost like a power chord. And that's it for fingerings on that first chord. You're just going to continue that right hand technique. So again, E, D, G, and B together. Happens twice. We're going to take that middle finger that was just chilling there, and we're going to put it on the 3rd fret of the A string. Everything else that you were playing though is still going to stay there. It's going to be planted. So all together. Then you're going to want to go to, you noticed it's a little different, but very similar. So what I'm doing from this C shape is I'm taking my middle finger and replacing my index finger. Then I'm taking my index finger and putting it on, again, the A string, but on that 2nd fret. So you would be playing a B, right? So switch. One more time. Again, though, that picking pattern is still the same. We're plucking that A string, and we're still hitting that D, and then G and B together. So all together, that first half of the intro is going to sound like this. Now we're in phrase 2, the second half. Everything's the same minus that turnaround at the end. So all that is I'm taking my index finger, pulling off so it's an open A. So I go from 2 to open. on the A string. And here you have that classic deep south, like Louisiana sounds, where I'm taking my middle finger and I'm putting it on the 3rd fret of the E string and just bending it a quarter step, not a half step, but just a quarter step, right? And then pulling off to that open E. So all together, starting from this C shape that we learned. One more time. All together now, this is the entire intro from the very start. Then you start over. That's the intro, which is also the verse. Now, going over the chorus, technically, that line, that lick, stays the entire time. However, when you listen to the recording, I can also hear a guitar part doing a couple things, right? What you'll hear in the recording is whole notes. The chords are very similar, slightly different. Again, we'll go over them individually, but I just want to demonstrate what the record does and then what I would do, and then we'll go over the fingerings. So, same chord shapes. That's what the record does. It's basically whole and half notes. I would do a strumming pattern similar to this. Right? Very similar, and you still have a lot of that open space, but just slightly building, right? And that's what we really want to do in the chorus. We really want to unleash something different. You always want something new to be coming out of your instrument throughout the different sections of a song. Especially if you're doing a solo act or you're in a band situation that you are the only guitar player. That's something to keep in mind. But first, before we worry about playing it live, let's learn the chords. We're gonna take that standard D power chord shape that we learned in the intro and the verse. Same thing. No, nothing changes. This is called a C add 9. You know it's a C add 9 because you have the 9 on that B string. And it's very similar to the shape that we used in the intro, except we're gonna take our index finger, and instead of having it on the G in the 2nd fret, we're gonna have it on the D 2nd fret, right? A really good point about this is that you do not want to hit that low C sharp. You don't want to hit that open string. All you want to do is just play from your C notes down, except not the high E string. It's not the worst thing if you played it, but it doesn't really fit. Now, this chord is kind of interesting. If our E string was not tuned all the way to C sharp, this shape would look really familiar. It looks like a G, right? Except we're all the way in C sharp here, so we can't plant that middle finger down like we normally would. So all we're gonna do is just raise our middle finger, take our index finger, and put it on the B string, on the B notes, 2nd fret, A string. Everything else is gonna be open, except for this planted finger that's been consistent the entire time. So you can kind of think of it like a G chord, but just don't play where your G notes would be. So again, we'll do it in whole notes and half notes, just so you can practice and play along. You don't have to do that turnaround every time or at all throughout the chorus. I tend to, because if I'm a lone guitar player on stage, people are going to want to hear that turnaround. So it's a good way for me to kind of incorporate both parts. But what was that strumming pattern that I was playing? Really simple. The bare bones of it is down, down, up, down, down, up. Looks like this. Down, down, up, 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 down, down, up. Even slower now. Down, down, up, 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 down, down, up. Sometimes I like to add a little bit more. I'll demonstrate that. But again, keeping the core down, down, up sound throughout the chorus, I think is crucial. But you can add more. And that's the entire song, verse and chorus and intro. So if you found this tutorial at all helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. It really helps out the channel a lot. And remember, keep on shedding and keep coming back, because we want to make you the best guitar player you can be.